Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture series on operating system. I am Mrs. Gitanjali Mahamunkar, lecturer and research scholar at Department of Computer Engineering, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Technological University, Lonere. The books that I am going to refer for this lecture series are Operating System Concepts by Galvin and Operating System by Achyut Godbole and Atul Kahate. This is the 12th lecture in this lecture series. For previous lectures, you can refer to my channel Learn with GSM, and please do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet, and hit the bell icon for more such videos. In this lecture titled Process Scheduling, I'll be discussing scheduling queue, the different schedulers, and then compare all of them. To begin with, what is process scheduling? Now let me tell you what is a process. Process, as we all know, is the program in execution, and when a particular task is to be completed, the process needs for its execution, it needs to be in memory, right? And it also requires other resources like CPU, IO devices, etc. for carrying out its execution task, or for its task to be complete, right? So now there could be number of processes on a system, okay, or created by the system to carry out the different tasks, but how to decide which process is to be executed first? So for this we need a scheduling or a scheduler, right? So and why are number of processes at once present in a system? Because we want to increase the CPU utilization, and it can be maximized only by the multi-programming concept. Now what is multi-programming? This I have discussed earlier in the previous videos. You can refer to those videos, okay? And now, so we want the processor to be busy at all the time, and so the processor scheduler, what it does, it selects the processes for execution from the ready queue. Now there are different types of queue present. So what are these queues? These are known as scheduling queues. These are queues of processes, or it could be scheduling queues could be of input output devices. So what happens is, there is also something called job queue, okay, which consists of all the processes in a system. When you create a process, it is put into the job queue on the system, like on the disk, okay, and the job scheduler then picks one up. We are going to discuss this further. So what happens is, the operating system maintains different types of queues for different purposes. There could be ready queue, device queue, etc. Now this ready queue is basically the one in which the processes are ready and are waiting to execute. That is, they are waiting in the basically ready queue is in the stored in the main memory. It is linked list is used to represent a ready queue, and the pointer field of PCB is used for this purpose. So what happens is, PCB, again, if you don't know what is PCB, it is process control block. You got to watch my video on process control block. It is also there in the on my channel. So ready queue is basically the one in which the processes which are ready to execute are present, okay. Then the CPU scheduler selects one out of them for execution. Now the another queue is device queue. It is a queue for which multiple processes are waiting for a particular input output devices, okay. So that is the queue, and each processor or each device actually maintains its own device queue, okay, in which the processes line up to get the to get their chance to access the device, okay. Then you have queuing, something called queuing diagram. It is actually, process scheduling is represented by this queuing diagram. And what is it? When a newly created process is basically kept in the ready queue, but before that it resides in the job queue, which is present on the disk, and then long term scheduling takes place. That is, the long term scheduler or the job scheduler picks up jobs from this queue and put it into the ready queue, where the processes wait for their turn to get the CPU. Then the short term scheduler, or when short term scheduling happens, the CPU scheduler or the short term scheduler picks one from this ready queue, and that particular process gets the CPU. When it completes its execution, this process exits, okay, or terminates. Otherwise, there are number of events that can occur during the processing of the given process, okay. So it could be suspended, timeout could occur because of the different algorithms. One of it is round robin scheduling, where process gets the CPU only for a particular time quantum. So when the timeout occurs, it again goes back to the ready queue and again waits for its turn to get the CPU. Or for a particular particular reason, if it is suspended, then again it goes back to the ready queue and waits for its turn again for the getting the CPU. Or suppose a particular event occurs, any interrupt or something like that, like interrupt from a higher priority process. If suppose priority is assigned to these processes and priority based algorithm is applied for assigning the CPU, then in that case again the processor has to suspend its works, stop its works and go back to the ready queue. So there are different kind of events that may occur, like request for IO, then queue for the IO, as I said, devices, and when its turn comes, the input output of completed, then again it goes back to the ready queue and waits for the CPU. So these are the different events that may occur, okay, during the lifetime of a process. Or the process itself can call a system, give call to a fork system call, which generates again or creates again a child process which performs its task, and when it completes, again the main parent process is given back to the ready queue. So this is how a process scheduling queuing diagram is represented or can be described. Okay. So there are different types of schedulers which are used to handle process scheduling. It is one type of system software which selects jobs from the system and decides which process to run. So there could be long-term scheduler, which is also known as job scheduler. It controls the degree of multi-programming, as in it decides how many processes can reside onto disk, okay, and can queue up, can be given to the ready queue. Okay. So it is used in real-time operating system, basically the long-term scheduler. Okay. It determines which processes are admitted to the system for processing, and the processes are selected from the queue and loaded into the main memory for execution. As I said, transfer of process from job queue, that is the disk, to the ready queue which resides in memory takes place because of the long term scheduler. Okay. In the previous diagram also you can see, here the processes are on the disk, here it is the ready queue which is in memory. Long term scheduling occurs, which is done by the long term scheduler, and then it is these processes are transferred from disk to the memory. Okay. Then medium term scheduler, these are nothing but the swappers. It is a part of a swapping function. Sometimes it removes the process from memory and thus reducing the degree of multi-programming. If a process makes an IO request, then it is in memory, and it is in memory, then the OS takes this process into suspended states. Okay. And once the process becomes suspended, it cannot make any progress towards completion. So in this situation, the process is removed from memory and makes free space for some other process. So the suspended process in such case is stored in the secondary storage device, that is the hard disk, and this process is called swapping. That is like removing, suppose this is the main memory and this is the disk, then removing the process from main memory and putting it back to disk, or transferring again from disk to main memory, this process is called swapping, and that is nothing but the task of medium term scheduler. Okay. This reduces again the degree of multi-programming. Okay. Then short term scheduler, it is nothing but the CPU scheduler, short term scheduler. What it does is, see, I will show you where short term scheduler works here in this case. Okay. What it does, it selects a process from the queue, ready queue, which are ready to execute, and allocate the CPU for execution. So short term scheduler is faster than long term scheduler. This scheduler makes scheduling decisions much more frequently than the long term or mid term schedulers. So it is called short term schedulers because this scheduling happens frequently than this, because when this queue is about to become empty, then long term scheduling occurs. So the frequency of long term scheduling happening is less than short term scheduling, right? So this is faster, short term scheduler is faster. Okay. And scheduling decision is made after every time slice, right? And it is also known as dispatcher because it dispatches the scheduler. If you observe the diagram of process state diagram, which I have discussed in the video process. Okay, then you have scheduler dispatch, which is what then that time I have told you that it is also known as CPU scheduler or scheduler dispatch. Okay, so that was about this. Okay, short term scheduler. You can refer that video to understand. Now you will have a different point of view of looking at it. Okay, so you can watch that video again if you haven't watched it, or already even if you have watched it, please do watch that video to understand this term, this concepts better. Okay, so what happens over here is you have this is the task of short term scheduler. I hope you have understood this concept. So this was all about long term, medium term and short term scheduler. So if you want to compare this, you can compare it in this way. It is a job scheduler, this is a CPU scheduler, and it is swapping. Its speed is less, it is very fast, and it is moderate, like between these two. Then it controls the degree of multiprogramming, like it helps in achieving degree of multiprogramming, whereas it has less control over the degree of multiprogramming, and this actually reduces the degree of multiprogramming, medium term. Okay, and it is absent or minimal in time sharing system, whereas this is minimal in time sharing system, and this is basically used in time sharing system. And we have already seen this with context switching or swapping. It occurs in time sharing system. Then when we discussed about time sharing system in the earlier videos, I had talked about it. Then this selects the processes from the job pool, okay, and load them into memory for execution, long term schedulers. Whereas the short term schedulers, what they do, it selects from among the processes that are ready to execute and allocate CPU to it, right? And what is the task of medium term scheduler? Process can be reintroduced into memory and its execution can be continued because of the medium term scheduler, because that is what happens, right? You swap the process from memory to the disk and from disk to the memory. So this is all because of medium term scheduler. Now the process state in case of long term is new to ready. Transition is from new to ready, and whereas in case of short term, it is it changes the process state from ready to running. Now what are these states that I am talking about? Please watch the video on process, okay, in which I have explained the process state diagram. Okay, that will help you understand what I am saying now. Okay, so if you have already watched it, do watch it again to understand it better. And if you haven't watched, watch the video. I will give the link in the description box below. Then select a good process. This long term scheduler, what it does, it selects a good process that is mix of IO bound and CPU bound processes, and short term scheduler, it selects a process for CPU quite frequently, right? Now what is the IO bound process and what is the CPU bound process? Though I have discussed it in earlier lectures, I'll just give a gist of it. IO bound processes are the one in which input output based activities are more, and for CPU bound processes are those in which CPU bound activities, the computation activities, are more. Okay, so this was all about the different types of schedulers, what is process scheduling, the scheduling queue, the difference between different schedulers, and the scheduling queuing diagram. Okay, so now you will be able to answer all these questions, I am sure. Explain the different scheduling queues, the different types of schedulers, the scheduling diagram, and also the comparison between the three, right? So if you have liked this video, press like and comment your views, share this with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.